Season 2, Chapter 9, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Malachi Wilson lines up on the grid in Saudi Arabia for the penultimate round of the season. Things have been going smoothly since his win in Japan, with the gap slowly closing between AlphaTauri and Ferrari. He needs to put on another strong performance today, amid rumours that both the Scuderia and Red Bull have their eyes on him.
We're here today on the shores of the Red Sea in the lower Hijaz Mountains to visit one of the newest circuits in the Formula One calendar. It's Jeddah, home to what we all hope is going to be a thrilling Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. An interesting circuit this one, the newest on the Formula One calendar, and like most street circuits, it's sure to present the drivers with an interesting technical challenge. Some challenging turns for the drivers to negotiate as well, and at the same time they're going to have to manage their tyres very carefully in this heat. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of Turn 1, so how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are three main things to worry about there, Crofty: positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position. And it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Bottas, Sergio Perez, Wilson, Giovinazzi, Sainz, Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, Ocon, Stroll, George Russell and Eilert, Latifi, Ricciardo, and Guan Yu Zhou and Mick Schumacher. Tsunoda and Fernando Alonso rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So they come back down the main straight and towards the first corner once again. Gasly looking to the inside of Malachi Wilson. Perez looking outside. Going to go three abreast towards that first corner. Wilson's moved over here and he may have just hit Gasly there. Perez goes around the outside into turn one and takes away third place. Malachi's way off the pace in the AlphaTauri. He may have got damage to the car. We'll have to see what happens here. Giovinazzi's looking around trying to take fifth place away. Right on board with Wilson now into the left-hander. And look at that, he's going full lock. He can barely turn the car. He can barely actually get it around the corner at decent speed. Front wing down, he's going to have to repair that. In comes Wilson now, on full to the back of the pack, he's putting on a fresh set of medium tyres and a front wing change on the car. Let's see what we can do with those things for the rest of the Grand Prix. Alright, so put a bit of an unfortunate situation there looking with Gasly, but we've got an objective here, and that's to work our way back through the pack and beat the two Ferrari drivers, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Of course, we saw at the start of the episode that the Scuderia Ferrari potentially have their eyes on Malachi Wilson for a seat next season, so we need to try and beat them today in order to potentially open their eyes a little bit more. Our first target here is Yuki Tsunoda in the Haas. Of course, he has our former seat as we set the fastest lap of the race here. Those medium tyres really went on for a whole lap, but they're doing us some serious good here. Make our way towards turn one. We're closing in on the Japanese driver, and we're now within a second, so we're going to have to be very close here. We're going to have to be careful through sector one and give ourselves the best possible opportunity to overtaking, because the DRS is only coming out in a couple of corners' time. Excuse me. Yeah, the DRS coming out, so we're going to have to try and pass him there. We're closing on him already, just considering how quick the AlphaTauri is compared to the Haas. Of course, you think about where we came from the first race of the season in Bahrain. We were so free around the outside of Tsunoda there. We did go a little bit wide there on the exit of the corner, but we do manage to make it through regardless. So there we go, past Tsunoda. Our next target, Guan Yu Zhou in the Alfa Romeo. We cut the corner there. We've got to get away with that as well. Another kind of corner cut as well. So surprisingly, we've got away with both of them, and we've managed to get around the outside of the Chinese driver and taken 18th place, and we've got Mick Schumacher just in front of us here. He's our next target. There's going to be a lot of overtaking in this race for us. So we're going to try and go around the outside of Schumacher. That goes to the inside and the outside once again. And there we go, finding our way through past the German, and that puts us into 17th place. So we're closing in on the leaders up front. Our next target being Daniel Ricciardo, the Australian in the other Alfa Romeo. We're going to have DRS on him here. This is the first time we'll be actually making a move down this back straight and down towards Turn number 22 is going to be very tight with Ricardo. We should be able to get through. Breeze around him on the outside. Then you need the last corner to be able to make the move. There we go, up into P16. Really good stuff here. And our next target, of course, is Nicholas Latifi in the Williams. So I don't think it's over with Ricardo just yet. He's still right there. He's less than half a second behind. And he's got DRS. We've got no DRS, and only now we get our DRS back to the fastest lap once again. Ricardo looks to the left. We're going to try and cover him off. We've got a strategy changing coming. We've braked way too early for turn 1. Ricardo trying to go around there outside. We're going to squeeze him on the inside. We're squeezing to the inside, and that's all we really need to cling on to our position. So that's P16 for us here as we push on further now towards the end of lap number 10, running in P16. We have now closed in to be within DRS range of the Canadian Nicholas Latifi, and we could try and go for a move late on the brakes into the last corner. I think we're going to be close enough, unfortunately. To the last corner we go, then nice and easy. Let's try and get a good exit here so we can pass the Williams driver off the corner and back over the start finish line. We've got a couple of drivers pitting in front of us, so we're going to gain some more places. There we go, around the outside of Latifi towards turn 1, no problem at all. We're up into P14 right now. We've managed to come out in front of a couple more drivers who of course made their first stops. We made our first stop earlier on, so we're all good for the time being, and move on to the next lap here. The end of lap number 11, start of lap number 12. We've got a lot more drivers pitting, so that'll put us up into the points paying positions, and the crucial target in front of us now is the Monegasque Charles Leclerc in one of the Ferraris. Of course, that's the objective for us right now. That's the objective for us to beat, and Leclerc's come out in front of us here, so we've still got a bit more work. Definitely not over yet. I reckon we can definitely catch Leclerc. It shouldn't be too much of an issue, and as we move on now to the end of lap number 12. We get Gasly in the pits in front of us, so we're coming out behind him or behind him. Regardless, we're closing in on Leclerc. We didn't have DRS that time. He's DRS from Calamilo and Aston Martin in front. We're going to close in on him here, and we'll have enough coming down this main straight. That'll be close enough to go for the move for position, but we should be able to just close the gap a bit more. I like moving to the pits. Carlos Sainz in the pits at the moment. We begin lap number 13. So I'm not sure where Sainz will be coming out. He might be coming out in front of us. I think he will come out in front of us. There he goes, the Spanish driver back out onto the racetrack, just in front of us. So I mean, I don't mind this slightest taking on both Ferrari drivers. Ferrari open their eyes and just show them what they'll be missing out on if they don't try and sign us. Here we go then, the start of what could be a very entertaining battle here with both the two Ferrari cars. We're closing in on Leclerc regardless. We've been closing in on him the last couple of laps. Now it's the time to make the move. We've got the DRS waiting to be deployed. There we go, ERS open, DRS open. Down the straight we fly. We're not getting enough for run Leclerc. Let's go late on the brakes, diving to the left hand side and taking the position on the inside after the DRS zone. Really great stuff there. So that's one of the Ferraris down. We've now got the other Ferrari, Carlos Sainz, who for some reason made a stop onto hard tyres. I mean, he's just guaranteeing he makes it to the end of the race without any tyre wear issues. Regardless, we should have the advantage here on our rubbered in medium tyres, which are faster to begin with. We've got our ERS, we're using a decent amount of that. We're going to disable that for the time being. We're going to enable it. We're trying to stay close to him in order for us to get a good run with the DRS here, so we have to be nice and consistent, turning it off and on again. We're going to have the DRS regardless though, only 3/10 behind him here, so it shouldn't be too close. We should be able to get him. We're closing in big time with the DRS and the ERS. We're going to look to the outside, Sainz goes down low. There we go, up into P7, really great stuff there. As you come to the last corner here, we've beaten both Ferraris on this lap. We managed to pass both of them, but Sainz and Leclerc both have DRS. The Spaniard will have DRS on us, the Monegasque have DRS on his teammate. Down towards turn 1, Sainz closing in, back towards that first corner. He's managed to get past us, towards the first corner, to go late on the brakes once again, and there we go, back on the inside, squeezing Sainz a bit through turn 1. We managed to make the job done, and that's that, beating both the Ferrari drivers there as we begin lap number 14. Coming on to the end of lap number 14 now. We've got our, and this is a crucial time in the race, because now is the first time for a key decision in the Prodigy series, and that is this question: should we pit for soft tyres and drop further down the order? Looking at the predictions later on the lap, we say we got to 13th place, so that is the risk we're taking. Or do we stay out on medium tyres and try to maintain track position in order to give ourselves a better shot at winning the Grand Prix? We'll have to ponder this question over the next lap or so as we battle the drivers in front of us. The first one being Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. There we go on the pit now, rejoin position 13th. So that's where we'll be coming out as of now. We are chasing the Finn here to make our way through the start of sector 2. But yeah, these medium tyres can definitely go to the end. We will experience some tyre wear towards the end of the race, I reckon, if we do stay out. But of course, that's the risk we take in order to try and take the race victory. Regardless, we're still pushing the Mercedes around the circuit here, using our ERS, but we're just not getting enough for a run just for the time being. But here we go now, closing in. We're going to look to the outside of Bottas. He squeezed us towards the wall a bit there, just playing his normal line with us on his inside. But there we go, going to force him out. We're going to shut the door on him, sorry. Going into that last left-hander, and that's the job done. That's us into P6. We're chasing Giovinazzi now. It is coming now time to make our decision with 10 more laps to go. Honestly, I reckon we're going to try and stay out here and see how long we can go till the end of this Grand Prix. I do reckon we'll make it to the end. Of course, we will experience severe tyre wear depending on how hard we push these things. But I do reckon we'll be able to stay out here. So that's what we're going to do, is stay out on the racetrack and just try and make it into the race on these tyres. So key decision complete. And the new objective here is the additional objective to finish the job and win the Grand Prix from where we are. We've got a yellow flag in front of us here. That may be one of the race leaders. I'm not quite sure who it is. We'll have to see as we go on this main straight. I think it's one of the rebels, and Perez is there with, and that can only win. Max Verstappen, the reigning world champion and current championship leader, Max Verstappen, out of the Grand Prix without a shadow of a doubt, and that'll put Lando Norris up into the top spot up front, and that could be crucial for Verstappen's world championship, because he had a decent lead going into this one, but we're scoring no points from today's race, which means it could have been closed up within the rest of this Grand Prix. Pushing on further into lap 16 now. We're still chasing Giovinazzi. We've got our own concerns right now. But closing on him. Is he going to be able to go for a late move to the inside? No, it's not. Just not close enough to really go for that. We've got a decent exit. We're right on the back of the Italian. He's going to go way down that main straight to begin lap number 17 in this Grand Prix. We've got about 9 laps to go in this thing. Back towards turn 1. We could go for a late one on the brakes. We've got the ERS and DRS deployed. Down into turn 1 to the inside. And that should be things nice and easy there. We've managed to clear Giovinazzi before turn 2. And now look where we are, we're stuck behind Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez, the drivers who, of course, were involved in the situation where we got sent to the back in this whole mess. Moving on to the end of lap number 17 and start of lap 18 with the DRS here. Perez is the outside and front. We're not closing on those two. But Perez is on the inside, Gasly's on the outside. He's taken P2 away, and that's what you love to see. The teammate making a move. We're going to try and sneak one up the inside of Perez. We do make contact though and slide a little bit, so we have to stick behind the Mexican for the time being. Pushing further on though into the lap. We've got the DRS wide open now. We've got a DRS saved up from the rest of this lap, so we're going to have to use that to the best of our ability. Will we get close enough to make a cheeky move to the inside? Going into the left-hander, yes we will. Up the inside of the Mexican. Great stuff here. Once again, the senior team being outperformed by the junior AlphaTauri team, which is slowly becoming more of a competitive team in its own right, which it has been over the course of the season, so that's something I'm really proud of. Perez closing in on us. We're going to have to try and block him off going through turn 1. There's Lando Norris up in the distance, 2.5 seconds. Still chasing our teammate Pierre Gasly. We must be careful fighting him here, because of course the first rule is to never do anything too bad to your teammate. I've already hit him earlier today in the race. Of course that did more damage to us than it did to him, but regardless we're just not going to do that again. Making our way down into the DRS zone, about half a second behind him, using the DRS and the DRS. We're a bit close enough to go for a move on the inside into the last corner, as we have done multiple times so far. Yes, we will, very late on the brakes. Gasly brakes way early. He gets the switch back here. He's already back on the left-hand side, trying to make a move on us down the main straight. He's going to have DRS on us, despite us being in front behind at that line. But there we go, with Gasly back into P2. Has to try and go for another late dive into that first corner. We're on the inside. Gasly going to have to give us space, and there's a bit of contact there, a bit of wheel banging. We've managed to get the better drive offload, and that's us up into P2. So from last place, what was last place around 17 laps ago, is now second place, and we're chasing Lando Norris for the race lead, pushing on to lap number 22 now. We're within half a second of Norris here. We're going to fire up the DRS and the ERS once again and try and go for yet another one of these great moves. Here we go, closing on Norris now. He won't have enough to hold us off. He locks up. We're not going to go for it yet, because I don't feel like there's enough space for us to really try and go for a move. By the time lie in wait, there was a bit of contact with the last corner, boys. It was all good, no damage to either one of us. Down the main straight, got the DRS deployed now, got a fresh ERS, so it looks to the outside, going into turn 1, that's going to be the race lead with just 3 more laps to go. We've overshot turn 1, then we've cut the corner, and there we go, we've got a time penalty. 3-second time penalty for Malachi Wilson late on in this Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and now we've got to try and get away from Lando Norris. Of course, go away as quickly as we can. If he finishes within 3 seconds of us, he wins this race. It's going to be very tight here. He's doing a good job keeping up with us. It's now becoming a serious issue on that front. You heard Jeff on the radio just a moment ago, but Lando's still keeping up with us, doing a great job here. We're doing our best to stay in front. We've got a decent amount of ERS here, which should help us defend from Norris. If he might try and go for a move on the inside or potentially around the outside, going to this last corner, he's going to look to the right hand side. We're going to defend the inside and force him the long way round here. He won't do it for the time being. We've got to be very careful though, because Giovinazzi is hovering around that 3-second mark. And of course we don't want to lose any more places than we have to, so he might come back inside that 3-second mark, and he does. While Norris looks to the outside here, 2 more laps to go in Jeddah. Back towards turn number 1. Norris has the run, he has the advantage on the outside going into turn 1. He's managed to get us there. Norris retakes the lead, but only for a moment. Here we come on the left-hand side once again. Have to be aggressive here in order for Norris to lose any sort of time. And of course, sort of cut across this line there. And we've managed to, it's nice and clean, robust and fair. We've managed to hold on to things. We've still got to try and do this. We've still got to keep in front of Norris. And Giovinazzi's now within 2 seconds of us, so you're going to lose a lot more place than you might think. Norris on the DRS are doing everything we can to stop him from getting past. But every time we slot up Norris, the rest of them close in. Norris looks to the inside, going into the final left-hander on the lap. We're going to have one more lap to go here. He has the lead. We're going to have the DRS now back towards turn number 1 for the last time. The final lap of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix begins. We are experiencing a serious tyre wear here, and that won't help us over the course of the lap. We're going to dump out Norris and retake the lead late on the brakes through turn 1. We'll have to really correct our line there. We don't want to get another penalty. Of course, that will help us without potentially losing even more spots. We're getting away from Norris here, nice and easy. The gap to Gasly, who's in 3rd place now, 1.5 seconds. Same as to Giovinazzi. Perez is with 1.7, so I don't know how many places we'll lose at the end of this one. I don't know where Bottas is in regards to where we are on the penalty front. I'm not even sure. But in that lead pack, we're still closing up on what looks to be lap traffic in front of us. Norris is 0.7 seconds behind. I think right now, short of something happening to Norris, I doubt we'll win this race. But of course, we're going to still try our best here with the limited amount of ERS, amount of time we have left in the race. Of course, an extreme tyre we've been suffering late on in this Grand Prix. We are closing in on that back marker there, so you may potentially hold up Norris, but I strongly doubt it. Norris has done a great job here sticking with us over the course of this final lap, or this last few laps in general, since we took the lead. And he's closing in on us once again. Will he try and go for a move? He's not close enough, thinks better of it, sticks in line. There it is, the blue flag's now being deployed. I doubt we'll even reach. I'm assuming that's Snowden and the Haster. I doubt we'll even reach him in time. Norris is going, could go for one last move here to try and take the lead and win it on track. We could still win it on track, so we're fighting for some form of pride here. He's going to go around the outside, long way round. Sonoda's there on the inside. We'll have to brake way early, way late. We've hit the wall on the exit of the corner. We're here to come towards the line though. I think we're going to win it on track. Norris is going to win the race. Here he comes, looking to the left-hand side. It's going to be tight. We've managed to win the race on track, but we have finished. I'm not even sure we've finished. I think we've, based on the count on the wheel, we've finished in 6th. But it's still chapter clear regardless, because the original target was to beat the Ferraris, and we've done that today. So we didn't complete the additional objective and win the race. But so that's in a way you can call it 1 star out of 3 stars, or whatever you really want to call it. Norris has won the race though. I know we haven't paid too much attention to the championship so far this season, but he is right there in contention with Max Verstappen. Based on the points I'm reading here, he's 3 points out from Max Verstappen going into the final race of the season, so that's going to be very tight. And of course, we've closed points on Ferrari today. Gasly finished 2nd place, and we came home in 6th in the end. So we've done a solid job there in closing on Ferrari. And we are also heading into Abu Dhabi, so we should be on course to try and upset them and try and take 4th place in the Constructors' Championship at the end of the season. So there you go, your final results then. Lando Norris wins the race from Pierre Gasly in 2nd, Giovinazzi 3rd, Perez in 4th, Bottas 5th, us in 6th. We won it on track but got that penalty late on. Leclerc 7th, Sainz in 8th, Lewis Hamilton 9th, and Esteban Ocon round to your top 10. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys next week for the final episode of Season 2. Make sure to like, share and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I shall see you guys next time. Goodbye everyone, have a good day. He won it by the narrowest of margins on track, but is 6th place for Malachi Wilson in Saudi Arabia thanks to a late penalty. Even so, it's more points gained on Ferrari, leaving 3 points between the two teams to go with the championship decider between Lando Norris and reigning champion Max Verstappen in Abu Dhabi.